And we're gonna do next Thursday in
Sure. Yeah.
23rd.
Any idea what time you want to do?
Yeah, I would say 3 or 4 o'clock. Same time, 2 or 3.
Sure.
And it's now live on YouTube. Let me see if it's on my channel. Can you hear me, Jessica?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're live now. That shouldn't be. Hold tight. Okay, it is working, but it's saying it's giving us a different name.
Okay. So mine shows live on YouTube on my screen.
That's fine. Give us a quick second. Let me change the name of it. Jessica Segal, what's
Okay.
going on? How you doing?
Hey there. No, I'm good. I'm very good. Friday afternoon in New York. It's beautiful, sunny, great afternoon.
Nice.
We have these great events on the first Friday in Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
It's called First Friday. And it's beautiful. All the businesses come out, all the community comes out and celebrates this food and drinks, and you try and provide support to the local businesses.
Yeah.
It's really nice community outreach, and it gets everybody out to know each other. I always look forward to it.
Nice, nice. So you got a lot of stuff going on, no doubt. We were talking about this last week was crazy for both of us.
Oh my
What?
goodness, yes. Yeah, I was just saying to you that I took a vacation for the first time in a long time.
Hmm.
Was really kind of burnt out. I needed the break and completely disconnected. Turned off my email alerts, used an answering service for my business calls, left the cell phone in the hotel room, and just really focused on clearing my mind, thinking about my business goals and where I really see the future of my business.
Yeah.
And
Good.
it did. It got us talking about how each stage of your life is a little bit different, and what you'll tolerate from people is a little bit different.
That's right.
And I think that, I'm not on social media that much, but there's this real push to try and keep up with what everybody else has or how they do their business.
Yeah.
And you and I always talk about you have to do what's true to yourself, you know? And so if that means having less, physical things, I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah,
all
yeah.
about quality of life and
All right.
experiences more than things.
What about
And
less is more, Jay? I mean,
I,
it's like
I'm a
less
huge
is
believer
more.
in that. I really am. I mean, when you really think about your absolute needs, like how much money do you
Way
need
down
every
here.
month to cover really basic things,
Way down here.
right? You can achieve financial freedom so much quicker when you really prioritize where your money's going.
Hmm.
And I've definitely, over the past year, transitioned my life to that sort of principle. I don't necessarily need the same things that everybody else has. I'm okay with not having that because I get to travel. Travel for me is really important.
Me too.
Spending time with my family is really important. So if that means I don't have, let's say, a $2,000, Louis Vuitton purse, then I'm
Yeah.
okay with that because I'd much rather use that money to go away for a week
Me
to,
too.
wherever my family wants to go. So I really felt that this week when I was able to completely disconnect. I went to San Diego for a few days and I love San Diego.
Yeah.
And to be able to really be present in the moment on the beach and just enjoy it.
Good for
It
you.
was something that I had saved for, I planned for, and I could be present. So it kind of brings us back to negotiating. And I wrote my article for you this month on negotiating
Hmm.
and really getting viewers to think about how important it is to have the skills to negotiate with different types of people. Whatever you're doing in life, your ability to interact with people is critical. And so one of the things you and I were talking about is I'm at a point in my life and my career after 20 years where, you really teach people how to treat you.
Oh
So
man.
if you let your clients or whoever it is, your sellers, your tenants, whatever, push your boundaries or abuse your time or your resources, then they're going to continue to do it. And we see that over and over again with tenants, right? And how they abuse the system or our patients.
Yep.
They don't pay or damage our property. But so for me, I had been negotiating for a specific client, and he was paying me really well. We talked about this, it was incredible amount of money. And of course, what person doesn't want to make good money for a skill I already have? But this particular client considered, because he was paying so much, thought that he owned me and would send text messages demanding that I call him immediately, show up at his office immediately, basically ordering me to go to all over the state of New York, drive to all these different locations. And it wasn't personal. It was just, that was the way he was used to doing business. Really nice guy, but that's just the way he operated his business. He's very efficient and driven to do things his way. That just didn't work for me in this stage of my life. When I was right out of law school and I was offered that money, I would have done whatever was asked, no questions asked.
Good done.
At this point in my life, I have responsibilities outside of work. Work is not my whole life. I have
not at the top anymore.
Right. I have other priorities, so I can't work in that type of environment. So it takes a lot of discipline to turn around and say, listen, thank you for the opportunity. I love the business that you have and what the service you're providing to the community. God bless you. I can't be your lawyer. I'm not the right lawyer for you.
Wow.
I can't work under these conditions, and you deserve somebody who can, right? Now, I could have walked into his office, and had some sort of heated exchange, like, who do you think you are talking to me this way, and burn my bridge? But why? Why would I do that? It was no malicious intent. That's just his personality. Like I said in my newsletter, I don't take anything personally when it comes to business. Everybody has their own style and what works for them. So I didn't take it as any sort of personal affront or insult at me as a woman or whatever. No, that's just how he treated everybody. I saw it. And so we had a great conversation. We shook hands.
Wow.
And I really respect, the work that he's doing, but I said, I can't meet your requirements. So before we create a situation that really is kind of ugly, let's part ways now.
Nice.
Right? And it was a very amicable meeting, and I'm very proud of the way I walked out of that, because again, when egos get involved, you tend to get very heated, you're very short-sighted, and what would that have accomplished?
Nothing.
Right? But by remaining calm, expressing how I felt, and really staying true to what my needs are. What are my business needs? What are my income needs? Would that extra money have been nice? Yes. But when it really comes down to it, I didn't need it. It would have been extra, but would that extra have been worth the stress that would have caused my home or my family life?
So basically, you fired the guy.
Yeah, I did.
You fired a client. I love it.
Yes. Okay. And so can't even begin to tell you the sense of relief I felt when I walked out of that office. It was this overwhelming lift of relief. Now, the same person might have walked out stressed and panicked. All right, now I need to find new clients to fill that space, right? But I didn't. I have my positive affirmations. I have more than enough. I have plenty of money. Work will always come my way because I'm true to myself and I provide good service.
I like that.
So, you know what? It'll work itself out. And I went away for a few days with a clear head without worrying about this client and his demands, right?
Good.
So I bring that back to our real estate world, and especially when we deal with tenants, okay, who really try and push our buttons, to always remember to have empathy and take a step back. It's a business. If you're not getting your rent, or your home isn't being taken care of, whatever it may be, you file for an eviction. That's it. Boom, done.
Wow.
Right? It's not personal. It shouldn't cause you stress. There's laws to follow, get in and get out. If you are involved with a deal and the seller, you can just tell is toxic, disrespectful, rude, whatever it may be, no matter how good of a deal it is or how much money you may make, you have to stop and ask yourself, is it worth it for your mental health or your family's stress level?
Yes, stress. I agree, Jay. I'm just thinking about all the deals. It's like I put up with so much crap in my younger years. I'm like, kissing butt with sellers and making sure everything. I'm like, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, is it worth me thinking about this at night? How is the seller gonna act the next day? Because, some sellers are just hot-headed.
Yes. Yep. So I would say my advice is really be true to yourself and trust. It's scary when you're trying to pay your bills. I get it.
Yeah.
Trust that there will be another deal.
I
and
like
that's
that.
what we say. Every time you turn around, there's another deal.
You're right.
So don't be afraid to walk away from something that's not healthy out of fear that there won't be another deal. There's always going to be another deal.
Yeah. My mentor says deals are like buses at the bus stop. They just come in, and then as soon as one leaves, the other one's coming. And it's crazy. It really happens like that.
It's true. And so I got to tell you, I had this house that I know we talked about in the past. There was a multifamily house that I really wanted. And I've been tracking it on the foreclosure circuit for over a year. I was trying to get it at the auction, didn't work out. I finally had the opportunity to buy it once the bank owned it. I walked through it with my contractor. It was in a neighborhood I wanted. I was determined to get it. But that seller was really aggressive.
The bank?
The bank and the attorney, and just the way it went down, they were insistent that I sign and have it like within like 30 minutes. It was very pushy. They wanted more money. Like, they accepted my offer, but they really wanted more money because they had other offers coming in. So they were trying to squeeze me out. And I honestly just had a bad feeling about it. I didn't like the way it was going down. And my gut, I was like, it's not worth it. I just walked away.
Nice.
I released the offer. Somebody else bought it. They, in my opinion, paid way too much for it. Okay.
Sure.
So they paid $185 for this multifamily, and it needed about $100,000 worth of work. I mean, there had been a fire. It needed a ton of work. After market value, after you could probably be worth $315, $330 if you did it right and nice.
How much does it need?
So I noticed. What?
How much did it need?
What'd you say?
How much work did it need?
It needed about $100,000 worth of work.
So there's no equity left.
So no. So I had offered $150, and I wasn't going to pay $1 more than that. And they accepted my $150, but then they realized all these other offers were coming in. So I backed out. Somebody bought it for $185. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
I saw it on the market. It's now relisted for sale. Okay. For $285. What they did was they turned it into a single family residence.
They converted it from 2 kitchens to 1.
Right. And I saw the renovation. They did a good job with the renovation, but I know how much money it needed. So I can tell by the renovations, because I had been in there with my contractor, they're not going to make very much money if they sell it. For $285, they're going to make nothing. And it's been sitting on the market.
Well, they still have realtor fees and closing costs.
Exactly.
I mean, that's $30,000.
To me, it was also this quiet victory. Like, again, confirmation. I did the right thing. Trust my gut. I'm not going to be pushed into something that I don't think is a good deal because someone's rushing me. I had to take a step back. Again, no emotional attachment to the property. Another deal will come along. I know it will.
That's right.
I'm just going to be patient. Again, all about kind of negotiating and listening to people. How are they treating you? Do you want to work with this person? Is it going to be worth it? How much sleep am I going to lose over this money,
Yeah.
and especially as an attorney, you're on the hook. You don't represent someone properly, you can be sued. So I'm very selective about the projects I take on because I commit myself to them. I'm not one of these lawyers that, just takes on work and when I get to it, I get to it. It's there's I'm very responsive to my clients. So
I was gonna say
um,
that's not the norm. Like the guys I usually hire, they take my money and I don't hear from them for a month or so.
I get that all the time, and I feel bad. I
That's so
really do. I feel like a lot of attorneys have a bad reputation, and I'm definitely trying to change that. But
thank you.
I'm very candid. I'm very candid. Sometimes people will call, and I'll say, "Listen, I'd love to help you, but I just can't. I can't take care of it in the next 2 weeks. If you can wait a month, I'm happy to help you, but I don't have time to get to it." Whereas a lot of attorneys will just take the money and then just say,
There we
well,
go.
I'll get to it when I get to it. I try and be upfront about it. I
That's
let
so
people
foul.
know. And it
Ah,
serves, me well. Yeah, it served
so
me
we got
well.
this LLC thing, Jessica. We
So I will
done get it.
also tell you,
Go ahead.
yeah, one other thing I'll tell you is I talked about, again, trying to negotiate with a difficult opponent, for lack of a better word. I've been trying for months to settle a business dispute, an LLC that's gone sideways, and it's just not going to work out. We're not going to be able to come to an agreement. We're going to unfortunately have to go to court and start litigation. But we tried everything we could. It doesn't always work out, so I'll keep you guys posted on that, because I'll try and keep you guys in on the process of the litigation, because I do think that that's helpful for people to see.
This is going
And
to litigation, or you're not?
yeah,
Are you going to file it?
yeah, gonna file the paperwork and have to go forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
keep us
that's the
in there.
last resort, but if the other side is not going to meet you or negotiate fairly, you're left with no choice sometimes. And
Yes.
again, it all comes down to what kind of partner do you have in your LLC? Paying attention to the books, being aware of what's going on in your business. If you get to the point where your partner is, breaching the fiduciary duty to the company, it's almost too late. If you're going to be in business with someone, be in business with someone, be present, be aware of what's going on, keep your documents, have your operating agreement, all of that stuff. So we're going to do an LLC masterclass to address some of these things, right?
Oh yes, yes, yes. We have been Roundup family, and I wanted to announce that next week. I think it's the 8th. Is it the 8th? It's
Yes.
next Thursday. We're gonna do it. We don't have the time yet, but next Thursday, Roundup family, and hopefully one night next week, Jessica and I will go over. Well, actually, it's just Jessica. You have an estate planning, an asset protection attorney
Yeah.
giving you her LLC operating agreement. Jessica, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So we're going to go over the basics of why you want. I mean, the questions I get asked the most are, why should I form an LLC? And then once you form it, how do you set it up to maintain it properly so you keep that liability protection? Okay. So that means having an operating agreement. It means following some basic paperwork rules. So a lot of people will go online and they'll pay LegalZoom or other services to file their LLC, but you don't necessarily get an operating agreement. So I'm going to provide you my operating agreement.
Yes.
That is going to be a template that you can fill in any state.
I
And that
love
way,
it.
when you're ready to go into the bank and ask for a bank account or a loan or any sort of line of credit, you can show them your legitimate operating agreement. And
Wow.
we're going to talk to you about how to maintain your records and accounts, and how to avoid commingling of funds, and all of those things that I, as an attorney, look for when I try and pierce the corporate veil and sue somebody. So I'm going to
Nice.
give you all those things to look out for so that you won't get sued.
So in this LLC masterclass, we're going to actually give them your operating agreement. Well,
Yes.
they're going to be able to download it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So it'll be great. And I'm same as you, I'm a big believer in, this is a business. It should be set up properly, and everyone should be able to afford good legal services. It should not only be for the big corporations. And so I try and make my documents affordable so that the everyday mom and pop business can operate legally and make sure you're doing things properly and keeping
Oh
your
man.
assets.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jessica. Round Up family, be on the lookout for that next week. We're gonna probably do like a pre-roll Monday or something, Jay. We'll set something up for next week. So
I want to, before we leave, just give a shout out for anybody. I get a lot of New York viewers that watch and email me, which is great. There is a new law that was passed in New York. If you're a landlord in New York, I just want to get the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019 dramatically changed the rules for landlords in terms of when you have to file your notice for non-payment of rent.
Okay.
Yeah, you pay or quit. It dramatically changed the rules with regard to how you can raise rent, what kind of security deposit. It limits your ability to charge for extra things like background checks. So there's a lot of changes that are not very landlord friendly. So it's important to read up on those and familiarize yourself with them. And I'm always available for consultation if anybody has any questions on that new statute.
I met a guy when I was in Denver last month. He had 150 rental units, and he no longer did security deposits, Jay, but he did what did he call it? There was no security deposit, but there was like a move-in fee or something, but it was lower than that. Is that legal to change that term like that?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. It depends on what it actually is, right? If it's actually called a security deposit, that can legally only be used for damage to the property. If there is no damage, then it has to be returned. But if you want to have some sort of non-refundable,
it was non-refundable,
and the tenant agrees to it, that would be okay.
Well, I think he was in Chicago. They had a cap on the amount of security deposit that they could charge these new tenants, which is what I'm presuming is going on up there.
Yes, so it's limited to 1 month's rent. So whatever your rent is, your security deposit is limited to that 1 month. Now, especially in New York, you have some places where the security is 2 or 3 months rent because you're renting a very high-end apartment, right? If you're in New York City and your rent is $5,000, they're going to want a lot more than a $5,000 security deposit.
That's right.
But it limits it now. So I have no doubt landlords are going to come up with all sorts of creative non-refundable fees, right? And we've always said, you can do a non-refundable pet deposit, right? Or there's other things you can do. I'm sure people are going to come up with a way to deal with it. There's also limits on how much you can raise rent if your tenant renews the lease. So, despite the landlord's increase in taxes or increase in utilities or whatever it may be, there's going to be a cap on what the rent increase can be. So that's going to significantly change the way landlords do business as well. And you have to be very aggressive about evictions. It's now a 14-day pay or quit notice.
From what to 14 days, Jay?
From 3 days to 14 days.
From 3 days. That's ludicrous. I mean, your mortgage is due anyway. Yeah, we could go on that forever.
So just no matter what state you're in, make sure you keep up on the laws for landlords to make sure you're doing your filings and properly to avoid any sort of liability problems.
Maybe you and I could possibly look at some of these new statutes and offer our audience and our viewers and supporters some workarounds on this stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm happy to help out with that. Sounds good. Yeah, you had some new ones in Virginia too. We'll look into that.
Yeah. I have to find them. So listen, Jessica, I had you for 30 minutes. I don't see any questions came here. LLC Masterclass. OMG. So we're gonna have look out for that next week. I've been trying to get Jessica to do this for like a month.
Yes. Think about any and all LLC questions you may have. Save them for next Thursday. It'll be a great time.
Yeah. All right. So we'll you can be able to come on so we can kind of do like a registration overview of what we're talking about.
Yeah. You let me know what you need.
Okay. Thanks, Jay.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Round up, family. I forgot to tell you, Jessica, I don't even know how to.
Yeah.
You can probably just go. I don't know. Hit end. I have to round up. They ended my Google Hangouts. So I'm having to get a new service to bring you the content that I want to and the people that I want to share with you. So bear with me. How do you determine the being the structure view? Chris, you know what? I had to go on here and turn on live broadcasts on my Zoom. But round up, family, thank you for joining us. LLC Masterclass, you're going to get and operate. My thing was this, with my mission with Jessica on this LL thing. I wanted to be able to set up your LLC with an operating agreement without how to set up your LLC with an operating agreement without having to hire an attorney. OM Jesus. Where are you going to get that? So I've been working with Jessica for it's been 2 months now trying to get this thing set up. Her doc coming directly for you. And it's not just for real estate. It could be for any business. As we were doing it, I was asking her, should we do it just for real estate? But since she's an attorney, she knows how to set all this stuff up. I'm like, look, you know what's going on. So round up family next week, August, I think it's the 8th. Let me make sure. I'm going to do an LLC masterclass for you. Good gracious, you are going to love this. All this content she has. Yes, August 8th. We don't have a time yet, but please stay tuned for my channel. I don't know how we're going to be able to broadcast it yet, but you will get your own operating agreement. You do not have to go pay $1,000 to an attorney. There will be a small fee, and you will be able to ask all the questions you want right here to an asset protection, not an estate planning, an asset protection attorney, Jessica Segal. I love it. Okay, that's all we got for today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click the like button if you liked it. And I'll see you next week. Round Up family. Pray for your boys so I can figure out how I'm going to keep this thing going. Peace. Shit, I don't even know how to end this thing.